I'm Renee Rochelle, the founder and president of One True Match. I'm here to help you find and cultivate the love of your life. For over a decade, I've dedicated my life to the importance, purpose, and dynamic of human relationships. My team and I are disciplined by faith, love, and integrity to help our clients find the quality relationship they've always dreamt of. Each week, I will be sharing the tools and tips I've learned that have rooted my success as a matchmaker with other leaders around the world.
Hello, loves. Welcome back. I am excited to be sitting here again with Connie. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, everyone. It's good to be back as per usual.
And we're going to talk about all things that are, just relevant to questions and things happening out there. And so one of the newest talks, or I feel like buzzwords, is on techno compatibility. And we're always talking about how important it is to be compatible with somebody, not only for the present, but also the future, right? And that's what makes a relationship last. And, we have these conversations all the time. Some agree with me, some do not. But just because we're witnessing this every day, I think it's so easy, and some people will say it's not, to fall in love. It is so hard to find somebody that is equally compatible and in love with, because how many times do we fall in love and then we have our heart broken and then we're able to fall in love again? So that's my point. We can fall in love multiple times. And the reason we fall out of love is because of compatibility. So I love this topic when it actually came and we sit around and chat about things.
Yeah, and I feel like this one's almost tricky too, because everyone's going to have a different opinion on this. This isn't like a lesson like some of our other podcasts are pretty much, almost stuck in stone. Stuck in stone?
Yeah,
that's the one. Almost, but this one's everyone has a different opinion about. So this one's very interesting, and we'll probably get some feedback on other people's opinions on this.
Sure. And so I think it's just important when we're talking about, so first of all, techno compatibility has to do with social media.
Which, is everyone's every day nowadays. There's no getting rid of there's no getting away and no getting rid of social media.
Right.
We're in a
we
social
find the
media
best
world.
people through social media, right?
Yeah,
so it's
exactly.
also like our bloodline of how we're able to globally connect to people outside of in-person connections and events and things like that, right? It is the biggest part of our world.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to techno compatibility, the reality of it is there's so many people have different styles of what social media and how much to post and what to post and not to post that we're going to dive into, I think is important today in this whole topic. But because it's gotten to an insanity level of so much competition, so much confusion, so many you're in a relationship today and you're out. You're yes. It's it can also lead to harassment. It can also lead to negative things. Or how many times, people will say to us all day long, can you share somebody's last name? No.
Yeah.
Because we don't want people to go on social media and start gauging who somebody is just based on a one-dimensional photo. Now, we do background checks and all of that, and we do pay attention to what people are posting, right?
Yeah,
and we try to go back as far as we possibly can for the length of a period of time to make sure that their morals, values, and just posts are credible and honoring their best intention of who they are.
Yeah.
But it is something that when we talk about this is finding somebody that equally, has a good balance of how much they post.
Yeah. And it's okay, if two people post, if say you influencers, social media people, those kind of people, if they probably need to be with someone that either has a presence or is okay with having a presence on their page. And I think it's a very rocky road, and it depends. And we've even started bringing this more up in our general questionnaires now, from the get-go, because social media is such a big thing that we're having to ask it from the get-go. What is your social media presence? Are you only on Twitter? Are you on Instagram, Facebook? Right. What is important to you?
And what are you posting?
Yeah, and that too, because people will judge. And even Renee just mentioned, we will go back from people's posts from 5 years ago, and it'd be something, even if it's something dumb, it's always on the internet forever. But people will judge you for that even years after. I know that we've had multiple times where, like, especially a woman has been like, they posted that 5 years ago. I'm like, it was 5 years ago. It's something silly, you know? But although I feel like that, they're like, no, that is a deal breaker. That was so dumb to put on social media. It's a very wobbly road going down social media, and depending what it looks like for people. And then, like Renee said, in a relationship, out of relationship, you can pretty much track back most people's relationships if they have pictures with their exes,
right? We're always looking at all of that
Yes.
stuff. Or when did they say they were in a relationship, and how long does it post that they showed that they were married or in this relationship with this person? And you know, it's almost like it's like your CV,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
For which is like your resume for your personal life.
Yeah.
And so one thing I always say, when you post something, if you're not going to be proud to look at it 25 years from now, don't post it, which seems like a ridiculous amount of time. But the reality of it is it makes you to stop and think about it before you just post anything and everything that you're feeling.
Yeah, and I think like people come to us and say, "Oh, at what point should I put it on social media? Or at what point?" It's what feels comfortable for you, but also be very careful, because if you're posting, and I tend to say this because I'm like, oh, if I posted a man every week on my social media, someone would say something. And I'm just using me as a reference, but I'm talking vice versa to men and women, whatever. Yeah, like vice versa as well. But if I then last week posted someone, I don't know, I can't even think of a name now, Tim last week, and next week I'm posting Mark, someone's going to be like, what is this girl doing? You know,
Right.
like, or even if it was last month. You know, I feel like you have to be very, very careful on what you're posting on social media, because everyone does keep an eye on it as much as you think.
I know.
They
And how
don't.
many times do we get, oh, it looks like they have kids, and it's like a niece or a nephew or something
Oh,
like that,
yeah.
but nobody ever makes reference, like, oh, my cute nephew or my cute niece. They're like, oh, my baby. And when you put the words my baby, everybody thinks it's your child.
Yes.
Right?
that's
And
a
I don't know
very-
if that's what you're trying to like disclose or display, then by all means put that. But I think some of the cons that people really, you know, start to get into is just the pressures and the anxiety and just the jealousy that comes from, you know, posts and things like that, that people just, they can't be themselves. It's almost like they're
Yes.
afraid to be, and so they have this mask on to be something or somebody else just to keep up.
Yeah, and it's also, people have this whole different expectation of social media. I know that I post on social media a lot on Instagram because I live so far from my family that my family always like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I do it because I want to share my life with them.
Right.
But I'm also careful of what I post, you know, because I mean, everyone should
Which I
be.
think is also
But
like a pro.
There's a pro,
Right.
exactly.
There's a
There's a
pro
pro
to
to it. I love it. Like, get to show family, but then there's also that con that if you're gonna compare to other people's life, I've even had people's friends say, "Oh, it looks like you're living such a great life," because I post on. By the way, I'm from the UK, Wales, where it's always cold and rainy and not the most sunshine. And here in Jacksonville, it's sunshine on the beach every day, you know, whatever. Just because you post on the beach once a week doesn't mean you live at the beach. You also have a job, a real life.
Right.
And
right.
I think that's the also scary thing about social media. It causes a lot of jealousy. So if it causes jealousy from just other people's life, like, I can only imagine the damage that it does for someone that has those tendencies on social media. It's like, oh, he's posted with a girlfriend, like an ex-girlfriend, that picture's still there, that's then going to cause a fight. Like, it's a whole dynamic of social media, how you have to handle it. And honestly, communication's the only thing that I feel that can fix it. And
Right.
going
So
into
then
it,
people will ask us, well, how do you like test, you know, techno compatibility, right? And here's the thing. Like, I mean, I would just, when you know, do eventually know who somebody is, I mean, the one thing people are really quick to be, you know, will send a friend request. Why?
Yeah.
Is it because then you want to like stalk them and follow everything that they're doing? Is it because, you know, maybe you have trust issues from whatever past relationship you have, or maybe you can't be trusted yourself? I don't know. But
Yeah.
the reality of it is I always tell everybody, live your life like in a traditional way where you authentically get to know somebody and you're not comparing them to everybody else. So you're not also judging them, prejudging them before you're in a relationship. Now, when you're out there dating without a matchmaker,
yeah.
there is called safety and security. So like I do
Yeah.
understand checking out who somebody is on that level. But when you're working with a matchmaker into the league and the level that we are, we've already done all of that.
Yeah, so don't go down the rabbit hole. And don't let social media, and I know it's hard in today and age, but social media isn't someone's image. Like, we've had people that be like, oh, I don't want someone that posts on social media whatsoever. Do I understand where they're coming from? Absolutely. But then we're also in a day and age of social media. So you have to be in like, okay, understanding that this is our world now. And I hate to say it, even if you hate social media, you're gonna have to get over it one day, because that's exactly how it is. Like, everything is on social media. But say, for example, it's you don't feel comfortable putting your relationship on there, or your dating world or something. Just have that communication. I mean, we bang on so much about communication, and we will continue to bang on about communication. But it's the same when it comes to this techno compatibility. The whole reason I haven't even said that is because I knew I'm going to butcher it this whole time.
I think the other thing too is like oversharing, right? So like some people just have a tendency to share everything that's on their life, almost like you're sharing, like how I'm not saying you're doing this, but I'm saying like you share things on your personal life so that your friends and family that dearly love you can see those things happening. But they're also within, boundaries of not sharing every single second of your life. So when somebody meets you, because here's the thing, once you get into a relationship, you should spend less time on your phone when you're together than more. Yeah. Right? So like we get often when we hear of relationships that didn't work out or something, and some people will complain that it was because their spouse or their mate was always on their phone. And it's like, so when you're posting a lot and you get into this habit, it's a habit that's hard to break.
And don't post in the present moment. I don't care how safe it is. Like I just said, I post because of my family and friends, and they want to know what I'm doing. But I do not post where I am at that. I will literally take pictures throughout the day, like quick. If you don't understand what I'm doing right now, it's because you're not watching the video version. So watch on YouTube.
She's making hand gestures.
Yeah, but basically like, get the picture, move on, post them later on or whatever on a story or whatever you want to do. Don't be going in there and go, oh, I'm here. Also, like Renee said, it's a safety thing. Like, use your mind when you're using social media, because it's a scary world that we live in. So, and be present. If you're going to constantly just pick up your phone, take a picture, post it, you have to write on it, you have to tag in it, do all these kind of things. That's a whole nother story of being on your phone for at least 10 minutes. And then to your partner or your date or whoever it may be, that's just straight up rude.
Right. So I think it's something that when you're talking about compatibility, right? And when we do bring up that word, it's not just for the present. It's also, we talk about the past, the present, and the future, right? Yeah. So you can really gauge, is somebody, we have a lot of our male clients that'll say, of course I want an attractive, beautiful, in shape, whatever woman, right? Mm-hmm. But they also don't want to they don't want to share with the world what they look like naked.
Well, also keep some of it to the imagination, people.
Right. And so, those are the areas where it's like, if you want to attract a certain type of person, also, be cautious of the things that you're posting. So, if you want to attract, for men out there, I always say, like, a classy lady, at the end of the day, you're not going to have a bunch of beer, poolside, drink fest, posts out there. Because you're going to attract that type. And if that's what you want, that's great. Again, the point is just think what you're posting out there when you think about somebody that you're going to be compatible with in the future, because you wouldn't want your future mate to post something that you wouldn't want the world to see once you're with that person.
Yeah, and it's just be very careful and mindful. But we've talked about that kind of in social media or even dating online pictures. Men, I'm totally going to target you here, but don't put a picture of I'm really using the hand gestures of holding a fish to your face. A woman doesn't care about your fish to your face or you fish it. They just want to see what you look like. So it's the same with women. Keep some to the imagination. Think about your pictures if you're single and out there dating, because social media is a crazy, crazy world.
Yeah, and we all live in such a world where they talk about the pressures and stress, and it's because of exactly what we're talking about. Everybody's so quick to judge, and we don't want you to not enjoy posting
Yeah.
either. I think it's just finding somebody
A balance.
that's like an equal to you. I mean, like in your example, like your husband never really posts much at all, right? But he is in a lot of the photos that you do post.
Yeah. And
so
he
it's
always
almost
says-
like a community posting.
He always says, "Oh,
But-
I'm not in the photo, you've got to post a photo of me soon because my family's now asking what
Right,
we're
because
doing."
they're going to see it that way. Exactly, too, right? But like you guys have come up with a good dance or a good balance, I guess I would say, of, you know, techno compatibility, just because you're able to like, okay, so you're the poster, you're the one who's taking the photos, like in that way. And I mean, typically
Yeah,
I feel
you
like
do
women
have
have a
to.
tendency to take more photos than men.
Always. Most of the time, yeah. But there's so many things here. And I even thought about like asking people, and maybe this is me getting into our little clients' lives. But I mean, we always say we got to know them inside out. But also going on your phone and saying, how much is your screen time a week?
Yes,
Like,
so that's huge.
I feel like that's a really good one for techno compatibility.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, how much time do you spend on your phone a week? Like people have
Right.
an hour a day. And then of course a lot of us do work from our phone. I know like we do, you know, there's so many things. But then when you look at your how many hours a day you spend on your phone, you're like, oh my, you know, and it'll show though how much time you spend on social media, even if it's just clicking it for a minute. Every minute click, like, you know, it adds up. So that's also something, maybe if you're listening to this, go into your phone and kind of analyze that a little bit more, because when you are in the dating world, it's something good to look at.
And I think, I mean, it's definitely like social media gives us so many tips and so much value and so many like positive things, right? We need, but also on the flip side of it, it can also, because we're jealous of other people's lives, it can also tear us down to
Yes.
a point where we just feel like we can never be like them. We can never be good enough. We're never this or we're never that, right? And like it also just starts to be a spiral down effect. And so like when we say, especially, you know, introducing people from the very beginning, is
yeah.
it's so important to stay positive, even if you're married, right? As
Yeah,
well too, or you're
100%.
dating, and not get like sucked into the whirlwind of like just downward spiral of like sorrow or sadness or
Yeah,
whatever,
and
depression.
Also, if you know social media isn't good for you, I can literally rave to the walls about this. Is why, if social media is negative to you, why use it? And maybe I don't understand because it's not negative to me. But if I see someone that's looking amazing on these amazing vacations, has this that's motivation to me.
Right.
That is motivation.
use
I'm
it
like,
as, like,
absolutely.
that's where I want to go,
Yeah.
right? Like
Do
that's on
not-
my Pinterest.
Yeah, exactly. Like make
my
it,
wish list of places, right?
yeah, make it your goal instead
Yes.
of if you social
Instead of
media.
be jealous.
Yeah, if social media is bad for you, do not go on there. So it's same when it comes to techno compatibility, is that if you know that person has a negative relationship with social media, then pull yourself away from it too, because it is so like the relationships and the jealousy that people have on social media is terrible.
I know.
So make any mutual agreement that it works for you, or use it as like a platform of inspiration.
I
Like,
totally
one or
agree.
the other. And if you fall down that jealous hole and that's just how it feels to you, then get off there, because social media is not worth it.
Right. Find another resource or an outlet of
Yeah.
inspiration that's
Yes.
going to keep you in the right lane, whether it be reading or taking a class or doing something you've never done before. And
Yeah.
I mean, so many times, and this is a whole other podcast, but I feel like so many times people get into this rut of routine
Yes.
and they expect a different result. And that's where literally you're just in a circle that's never going anywhere, right? So
you're gonna get stuck there.
So in the world that we live today, it is really important that, you know, not only are we compatible for the past, present, and future, but we're also compatible when it comes to our style of social media, you know,
Yeah.
involvement and things like that. So I think this is a really, really, really good topic. And I love it when everybody writes in or things are just trending that we can talk about, because in our day in life on a regular basis, talking with our clients and just, again, to all different relationship levels, it's so important that we talk about the things,
Yeah,
right?
and I'm surprised we haven't actually done this one already.
I know, because I
because
feel like it's a
this
big
big
one.
one,
It
social media
definitely,
is
like, so
huge.
many times in our feedback, we're like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
right? So we're here to give you guys tips, advice, help you to get to the the utopia of love that you're looking for so that you can be successful in all areas for the future.
Yeah, and if you use social media, you can also follow us on social media for lots of dating tips and all of those fun things too. So if you are present on social media and it is that positive influence to you, then come to our page and follow us and all the tips and tricks.
All of the newsletters and just events and things we have coming up too. We can't wait to see you there and be a part of just our community and all of our family, we call them, of happily matched couples. And just, it's so important that you surround yourself around other people that are loving and just, are prayer warriors and everything else. So yes. Connie, great tip. We are going to love and leave you and hope you have a blessed day.
Bye.
It's been another great talk on this episode of One True Talks by Renee Rochelle. I look forward to our next chat. Please write in your questions and comments so I can be sure to talk about whatever it is you want to discuss in our next upcoming episode. Lots of love. God bless. XOXO.